President-elect Joe Biden is beginning the transition process as President Trump claims he'll keep fighting the election results in court. Mr. Biden named 13 top health experts to his coronavirus transition advisory board. The Biden-Harris team is signaling they will prioritize 4 key issues in the process: COVID-19, the economic recovery, racial equity, and climate change. As for Mr. Trump, he's demanding recounts in several states, baselessly making accusations of fraud and irregularities. CBS News' Skylar Henry has the latest.
President-elect Joe Biden is getting a briefing from his newly named coronavirus task force. The president-elect says he plans to urge every state governor to implement a mask mandate to save lives. And he praised news Pfizer's vaccine candidate has been successful and is on pace for approval by the end of the month. But he cautioned even if that is achieved and some Americans are vaccinated later this year, it will be many more months before there is widespread vaccination in this country. CBS News has learned the Biden administration will have a series of executive orders ready to sign on day one. The orders are expected to rescind a travel ban on several Muslim-majority countries, reinstate the DACA program, and rejoin the World Health Organization and Paris Climate Agreement. However, the government agency that helps start the formal transition process has yet to sign the letter needed to provide office space and funding. GSA Administrator Emily Murphy, a President Trump appointee, says the election has not yet been decided. President Trump is currently not planning to concede the race. He is mounting challenges in the courts and the court of public opinion. CBS News has confirmed the Trump campaign plans to file more lawsuits. The president plans to publish obituaries for people who allegedly voted but are dead and hold campaign-style rallies to make his case to supporters.
They've been losing every case that has been brought post-election, the Trump campaign has. And so it does appear it might be more of a PR stunt than it is an actual cohesive legal theory.
Supporters held rallies this weekend, claiming the election is being stolen from President Trump. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
For more on the transition, I want to bring in Chris Liu. He served as executive director of President Obama's transition team and was a former deputy secretary of labor in his administration. He's now a senior fellow at the University of Virginia's Miller Center for Public Affairs. Welcome, Chris. Great to have you with us. So first off,
thank you.
For our viewers who may not be as familiar, what exactly is the role of the transition team and why is it so important?
Well, literally speaking, it's the transition from campaigning to governing, and that has to happen over a short period of time. There are 78 days between Election Day and inauguration team, and that means turning over the entire senior leadership of the federal government, as well as putting in place the policy proposals that the new president will implement. But obviously, because 78 days is not a lot of time, a lot of this planning has already begun.
So our Nicole Killian reports the Biden-Harris team is at odds with the General Services Administration, an independent agency that is supposed to sign off on the formal transition process. Its administrator, a Trump appointee named Emily Murphy, has so far refused to sign off on the formal transition process. Walk us through how abnormal a transition delay like this is and how it could hurt the Biden-Harris team moving forward.
Well, we're learning a lot about the General Services Administration, or GSA, that many of us did not know before. Let me tell you what happened in 2008. Senator Obama was declared the winner at 11 p.m. on election night, and about 2 hours later, the administrator of GSA sent me a letter. I was the executive director of the 2008 transition, ascertaining that Senator Obama and Senator Biden were the president-elect and vice president-elect. And in that respect, they were entitled to support, facilities, resources from the federal government. It happens automatically every 4 or 8 years, and it's not something we normally think about. It's become an issue this year because the GSA administrator has not sent that letter, which was perfunctory in years past, and it's not clear if and when she will do that. As a result, it means that officially speaking, the Biden transition can't begin. Functionally, work is already happening. This is an obstacle. Right. It's not ideal. And I certainly hope that, after a couple of days, this gets resolved, because this isn't just about, the long-term success of President Biden. This is really about continuity of government. It's about addressing national security risks, homeland security risks that come up during a transition. And frankly, we've been doing this for over 200 years, and it really has never been an issue.
Right. So, you mentioned all of the things that come with the formal sign-off, the access, but also the funding. There's a lot of money involved here. So until they get that funding and that access, what can the Biden-Harris team do to prepare for the transition in the pandemic's virtual world?
The funding is important because it allows you to both pay for staff to execute this transition. And I think people have a hard time understanding how big this is. On January 20th, the president will take over dozens and dozens of federal agencies. And part of the task of the transition is to do deep dives into these agencies to understand what is happening there. So the inability to access that money is problematic. Although certainly transitions have also been funded with private funds in the past. So the transition could certainly raise money for that. I will say this, none of these obstacles are ideal, but if there's anyone who can overcome them, it's Joe Biden. This is a person who has spent more than 40 years in government. He probably understands government better than almost any other person who has become president, and he is surrounded by a lot of experienced staffers who have spent time in government as well.
Right, and looking at the Trump administration, as we know, his administration has not had a high regard for much of the bureaucracy of the federal government, gutting many agencies and dismissing many civil servants and just not replacing them. So based on your experience with the Obama team, how likely is that to change in a Biden administration, starting with the transition? But could that also, put the Biden administration back on its heels, at least at the beginning?
Over the last 4 years, we have really seen a gutting of the federal civil service. It's not just the demeaning of the career employees, calling them deep state. It is trying to ferret out whistleblowers. But it's really allowing a lot of these key functions within government just to kind of die. We have seen an outflux of foreign service officers, climate scientists, experts have all left. So it's going to be an important job for the incoming administration to figure out how to quickly replenish and revitalize the federal government. Because, leaving aside all the politics, the federal government is tasked with so many important functions. It's about getting money out to people. It's about enforcing laws. It's about protecting our national security. And all Americans should want to ensure that these agencies are fully staffed with the best possible people. So I know that will be a top priority for the incoming president.
How quickly do you think the incoming administration will be able to get that done?
Well, I think it's going to be a challenge. The federal civil service laws don't easily allow you to hire a lot of people. But what I am hoping is, as we saw at the beginning of the Obama administration, that there really is going to be a awakening, a renaissance of people interested in public service. And you're going to have more people applying for these jobs, more people applying for the foreign service exam. And the key will really be is what flexibility there are within current hiring laws to get these people on board as fast as possible.
All right. Well, Chris Liu, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.